Welcome to the Happily Ever Laughter podcast.
A positive space where we try to find the humor in the craziness of life.
Because life is crazy.
That's for sure.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Dynae.
And now, on with the show. Welcome back to the Happily Ever Laughter podcast, everybody. I'm Matt.
And I'm Dynae.
And it has been quite some time since we have recorded a podcast.
Yeah. Last year got really busy for us. So.
I think it was October, maybe a Halloween episode
November.
year.
Yeah, November last year, I think.
Which is crazy.
Sorry, guys.
We're also trying something new as well. So if you want to watch us on YouTube, we are on YouTube at Happily Ever Laughter Podcast. So then we will have the live episodes. We'll have the live episodes. Mainly wanted to do it as well because then we could have some clips, because half the time when things happen and I say dumb things, I also look like an idiot. And so it's probably good to have those on camera so you guys can see what I look like in person.
And it's not just, and it'll make more sense to you all, I think.
For sure.
Yeah. I get to see all the weird faces and everything like that. And then I'm laughing and you're going to have like, why is she laughing like that?
That's probably true.
So anyway. Plus, we just thought it would be more fun overall to have some, it's just more fun to have some video content as well to share on different things.
For sure.
With everything going on lately, who knows what's going on with any of it. So
we're just
trying to be prepared for all and every situation.
So. And this will be fun. It might take us a little bit to get back into podcasting form and not talking over each other and doing all of that stuff, because that's what we do in real life. We just talk over each other all the time.
Just a married couple.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it goes.
So join us back for this experience. We're going to
adventure.
Adventure.
It's an adventure.
Join us for the adventure on Happily Ever Laughter Podcast.
Honestly, that was part of the thing. Like, I would like to be more adventurous for this whole thing. Like, maybe we could turn it into kind of a vlog type thing as well.
Yeah,
you know what
true.
I mean? And go actually do things instead of just talking about them.
Ooh, that'd be fun. That's true.
Yeah. So really, this is just a kind of an introductory episode back to just kind of like fill you in on like what we've been up to, but also like where we want to go with this, because this is like our third iteration of this thing.
It is our third iteration of the podcast. We started with a podcast called Couple Thoughts. Yeah. And that was basically because we are both self-employed, self-made people. We both own our own.
Well, that goes more into the second one. Couple Thoughts was just us kind of, being a married couple talking about things going through the pandemic, because that's really why we started it, was kind of just to give us something to do, because we were both out of work at the time, so many other people.
But the first iteration was about that more so than the second iteration, because it was more about, here are the things that worked and didn't work when we were a small business, and maybe tips to help you avoid that. And then we realized that we like to talk about more things than just our business and how to run a business.
Yeah. Because I got real old real quick.
That's true.
Honestly, because that's the thing. Yes, we run our own small businesses, but at the same time, it's like that's not the fun part of our jobs, is the running of the business.
Right.
It's the creative stuff. So, after a while, it's like, well, what do we talk about now? This is even boring to us with, ADHD and whatnot. So,
for sure. So there's
it can't be that entertaining for everybody else listening.
One of our favorite things is going to movies or watching movies or music or all of this entertainment stuff, being a musician myself. So there's all those things that we were like, we want to expand our horizons on what we can talk about on the podcast. We want to do more series throughout the podcast, maybe in the future.
Yeah.
Because Gareth, I'm talking about Gareth because
that's your other business
partner.
That's
my other business partner. And we've been on a lot of business trips recently.
And you also do videos with our oldest, Cameron, with the React channel. So you're going to get, sorry guys, if it's kind of crossover here and he forgets who he's talking to. So.
That's true. Well, and we wanted to film too, because I had set this all up for our Metal Reaction Channel podcast that Cameron and I have. And so we were like, why don't we just use this, because it's already good video, it's already good lighting, it's already good stuff. So let's just record it, and then we have fun stuff as well.
Yeah. So, just trying some new things, but also just listening to the people that were our listeners or are our listeners, and kind of getting their feedback on what they enjoyed more about what we talked about.
For sure.
And so we're just always going to kind of listen to that and just be like, okay, well, they like this kind of content. So that's what we're going to try to do for people.
For sure. Or if you have any ideas that you would like, I know there's a few that we're probably going to go through in this podcast about things that we want to do in the future with the podcast. But if you have any ideas or things you want us to talk about, find our social medias, comment down below, like the podcast on whatever you're listening to, and join us on this journey, because it's time to get back into the Happily Ever After podcast spirit.
And we'll try our hardest to be more consistent with it.
Yes.
Because that is also the challenge of working for ourselves, is like, you know, things have to go by the wayside sometimes. And we just legitimately, this past year has kind of been a lot for our family, and we've been going through a lot, and there's not been the extra time to put into this, honestly, like we'd wanted to.
For sure.
But going into 2025, lots of things are happening this year that we're, you know, kind of like shifting. I actually closed my photography business, or in the process of officially closing it, and we're kind of, you know, melding that into the new business that's called Livingston Creative.
Livingston Creative.
Where we're going to do a lot more like kind of video work, stuff like this, audio, you know, editing and stuff like that, but also getting back to my roots as a graphic designer and doing more websites and template kind of stuff.
Yep.
You know, it's one of those things, like we also talked about, the first of the year is also a time of reflection for us, because it's also our birthdays. Like mine's in January. I just had it yesterday, actually.
Yeah. How old did you turn today?
I'm 44, you guys.
44.
Yeah.
And looking stunning.
Thank you.
You're
I appreciate
welcome.
that.
I have to say
I
that
feel
because
every
we're on
bit of
camera.
44, though. Because more than that, we have our oldest is getting ready to turn 18. And so that's a big jump.
And applying to colleges and
Yeah.
trying to get scholarships. And so that
It's
definitely...
been a crazy time for our family. So, you know, first of the year is a lot of reflection for us. And that's kind of like where we're at too, is like we were even discussing like, where do we want to really put our focus on this year? And a lot of it has kind of, you know, that's why we decided to close the photography business, and we decided to do some other things. Not that I'm going to stop doing photography.
No.
I feel like I'm too good at that. No
Ooh.
offense. Well, when you get a talent for something, when you get experience in something, it's not like you just want to just not do it anymore at all.
Sure.
So we'll just incorporate it in different ways and use it throughout.
Well, and it's
our other
rolling
businesses.
into the Livingston Creative brand that we're now creating.
So it's not like I'm going to just stop taking photos and stuff like that. It's just we're refocusing some things.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Oh, and I love that we're going back to the outlines.
I have to. Okay. Like,
it's good for you, because if you don't keep us on track, I'm going to take us this way, and we'll never return.
and none of it'll make sense then from there on it. So I have to at least have like a little bit of like an outline for this guy.
There you go.
Well, for myself now too, because we'll talk about some of that stuff going forward as well. Just kind of the stuff that we're going through at this point in our lives, obviously, with the kids, with, you know, getting older, with the changes in all of our business stuff.
For sure.
So there's a lot. I think there's a lot of stuff that we're going through at the moment that a lot of people could probably relate to. So those are the kinds that we're, you know, stuff that we're going to talk about, but also trying to keep it positive and trying to do fun stuff.
Yes.
That we didn't do as much of the last time.
Because we want to get into some topics that we really enjoy. There's a wide variety of podcasts that we listen to. So one of our examples that we're kind of taking from a little bit is Armchair Expert, because they had their armchair thing, and then they had their other section where it's just like stories from people, and then they had the flightless bird.
Well, I like the way that they structure it, because they talk about a multitude of things as well. So it's like kind of, you know, they separate it out into categories almost. So we kind of want to take that little bit of approach. And that way, if there are certain things like our audience is really interested in, they're like, oh, I like that one. Or, oh, I can skip that one on, you know, perimenopause or whatever it's going to be, you know, that kind of thing.
I might skip that one.
Yeah, you're in for a ride.
Only
buddy.
because
So
I don't know. Actually, you know what?
You're in it with me, so you kind of have to.
Right.
You're stuck.
Yeah.
So
You sweat all the time now.
it's true. I don't like it at all. And I could tell you all about that, and I probably will at some point. But no.
But we were excited because we both really realized there's so many things, like we talked about movies earlier, or we both love everything that is cryptids or supernatural or stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we're thinking about doing some series of that type of stuff where it's ghost stories, and then we talk about those.
And that's kind of what I was talking about, like adventure. Like the Crescent Hotel is not very far from us. We could actually go, Because we went with the kids once,
and
but it was during the
record
day.
an episode at the Crescent Hotel.
We could do stuff like that.
I'm in.
I don't know. Do you guys think that would be fun?
I think it would be fun.
So yeah, that kind of stuff. But that's what I mean. Like we could just separate them out into categories. That way, you know, people that listen to us can be, I really want to like look at that stuff, or, you know, I can skip some other stuff. So
For sure.
it's easier to like find the content that you're really looking for. But then if you just enjoy listening to us banter with each other,
Yes.
there you go. We'll try to keep that to a minimum. I've heard a lot of people get angry about that stuff for some reason.
That people just banter for no reason.
And just riff off each other. Yeah, because that's a problem.
No one is going to like me then.
Maybe that's just other podcasts I hear that from.
That might be true
We'll see.
too.
But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. Where else did we get on here? Obviously, I think there's also a need for us to get back into just some positivity, because I don't know about the rest of you guys, but it's felt like a very heavy last few months. And you never know. I mean, honestly, the past 5 years have felt very heavy for us anyway. Just everything that's going on. And so we want to keep stuff positive. We want to keep it entertaining and just kind of a place to like escape for a little while as well.
Well, and I think this is something that we got away from, and we did go through some mild depressions or, you know,
so we're going to keep it real.
Emotional issues or stuff. So we were like, you know what? We really miss doing the podcast together. We have had numerous people reach out from our old iterations of the podcast saying, hey, when are you guys going to get back into doing this? And so we thought this would be a good time. I'm a traveling entertainer for a living, and I have about 3 weeks home now. So we thought this would be a great time to start jumping into some new podcasts and maybe getting rolling with this. And then that way we could just make sure that we stay consistent with it through the next year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And actually try to schedule it out and things like that. So I think that was our big problem the last year or so. It's just like we kept wanting to, and then stuff would happen and we just don't schedule it, you know?
For sure.
So that's kind of where we're at with that. And if you haven't noticed already, we're kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
So getting a structure going will be helpful.
We thought about even being here on YouTube doing some reaction stuff. Since I already have a metal reaction channel, we thought it would be fun husband and wife stuff of maybe either watching stuff. The main reason we thought about this is because Dynae finally convinced me, and we are working our way through Bridgerton right now.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
It's because we made a bet, right?
We didn't make a bet. We made a pact.
Yes, an agreement that I would watch the Reacher series with you.
Yes.
And I did.
Yeah, you did.
So we got through that.
And we got some man candy watching Reacher.
There's so much ridiculousness in that. But it's also oddly like,
Every episode we're like, we going to see his butt crack or not? You never know.
You never know.
It'd be like a drinking game that you could do.
Oh, no, we don't drink. So
that's true.
The problem.
Sadness.
Anyway,
so we started watching Bridgerton, and Dynae is dying laughing because I'm having so many reactions. I am thorough.
Well, because you were introduced to Jonathan Bailey.
Indeed.
On Wicked. And I was like, he's in Bridgerton. So you're going to get a good, idea of why everybody loves this guy.
So I have to thank watching Wicked getting me into watching Bridgerton because I'm like, I love this dude and I need more of him in my life.
Oh my gosh. But that was funny because we were watching it. He was making you guess all the way through what's going to happen. And so I'm just like, and you're never right. Well, sometimes you're right.
Yes.
But I'm like, this would be hilarious to just have your commentary on what's happening.
It would be true. The sad part is if you ever watch movies with us, I think because of the way the last couple of years have gone, I'm not thinking in the way of this show is written for the women's gaze and what they want to see and what's going to happen. And so every time I guess, it's always like, oh, but what if so-and-so dies? And then they all get sad. And and then I'm going, And I'm like, wait, no, this should be what women want to see. So it should always be the love coming together at the end or finding each other or stuff like that. So I'm getting better at my guesses, but they were pretty dark at the beginning.
Yeah. So anyway, it's stuff like that. So we're like, maybe it would be fun to react to some different things here there and that kind of stuff too. So, and he's used to that with the other channel. So we'll go from there.
And I just react to stuff for a living, being an entertainer.
Entertainer.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Is there anything else you want to add to that for our opening back episode?
Not necessarily. This isn't a full-fledged podcast. This is basically reintroducing ourselves, getting everybody back into it, saying, hey, join us for the ride. Our goal is to get back to possibly getting to the point of having a Patreon, possibly getting to the point of having some merch online, because we are graphics people and we are stuff like that. So we just like making things.
It's just fun too.
I think half the time we just want to make things for ourselves and then see if anybody else buys it. Like right now, Cameron and I have a metal reaction channel. It's called Matt and Cam React. So if you want to check that out on YouTube and you like heavy metal, check it out. A lot of really brutal stuff on there. But I want to come up with a line of shirts because our family, we are very big cat people. So I want to make some death metal cat shirts to have on that channel. And I think it would be amazing. And that's really just because I want a death metal cat shirt.
You can't find yourself. So you're like, why don't we just design it
I
ourselves?
figured if it's something that I would really dig with my hyperfixations, that there's got to be a market for it somewhere out there.
Probably.
Yeah.
Honestly, these days there's a market for just about everything. So
for sure.
Might as well try it.
And we're testing all of this stuff out. I've got a new system that I'm doing things. So let's try taking a quick intermission. Intermission? Let's take a quick break, and I'm going to test out my thing, and let's see what happens. Let's do it.
Hey guys, just wanted to take this quick ASMR break to remind you to go and rate and review the podcast.
It's hard to hold it for a long time.
It really does help people find us.
And now, back to the podcast.
And so there you have it.
Yeah, that was pre-recorded from one of our old podcasts.
Oh my gosh.
Which we could easily do that live, just going...
Oh, yeah. That would be interesting to see you do that all the time.
Every time?
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. I'm sure you are. Okay.
But even on your layout sheet for our basically introductory thing, that covers most of the stuff that we wanted to talk about.
I didn't have a whole lot for this new one because that was kind of the thing. We're just like trying to, get back in the groove of it and not talk over each other like
for sure.
you said. So it's interesting sitting down like this and it's so structured in a way.
Well, I think the hard part right now for me is whether I look at you or I look at the camera, and I don't really know where to go on some of those things. So I think eventually it'll just be forget the camera, because right now we're playing to that at the moment.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Awesome. So that is the introduction to our podcast. We are excited to get back into this. Like we said, find and like our social medias. You can let us know topics you might want to listen to, want to hear us talk about, information, stuff like that. And if we get into stuff like that, like our different categories or whatever, if we start talking about like, cryptids or ghosts or anything, send in your stories if you have them too. I think that would be if you
really
have
fun
ghost
to
stories.
read listener stories. So
yeah. Another thing that I want to do is, I know we have a friend named Addie that lives down in Austin, Texas. I was on the drum line with her in high school, and we actually recorded a podcast, it was like 2 hours, and she talked about tarot reading and the history of tarot, and she did a reading for me, but we had some audio issues, so we never were able to air it. So I would actually love to start getting into more interviews as well, trying to bring people onto the podcast.
For sure.
Talk about topics that maybe are fascinating to us as well. Mm-hmm. That was another thing that I like about Armchair Experts, is they just kind of bring on people that are fascinating people. Mm-hmm. And every episode,
have good conversations.
I would love to do that.
Okay.
So join us next time. I'm going to try to hit the outro here. Thanks so much, guys, for hanging out with us on the Happily Ever Laughter podcast. We're excited to bring you more episodes, and we will see you next time, right?
Yep.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye, guys. Now, since we haven't done this in a while, we should probably practice and pose for a cover photo.
Okay.
So
I don't know if I look the best for that.
I think you do great. I mean, this is going to be bonus stuff at the end of the podcast that we're going to cut out for the other one. But if you're watching right now on YouTube, you get to see this live.
Hi.
So
I don't think anybody's watching right now.
Well, nobody is because it's unlisted.
Oh, obviously.
Okay. I'm going to do my traditional double thumbs up, and then you do whatever.
What should I do?
It doesn't matter. Let's just do one for now. Pretend you're taking a photo. Ready? And action.
That's so weird.
I meant like not taking a photo, like you're getting your picture
somebody's
taken.
taking a picture
No,
of
not like
me.
you're taking.
I'm always behind the camera, you guys. This is the problem.
That is
right?
true.
I'm so awkward in front of the camera because I'm always behind it.
I'm wondering if I should just leave this on the podcast now because this is hilarious.
Probably.
This is the stuff that we needed to do to get back into practice. So I'm going to do one of these.
You should say pose for the camera.
Pose for the
Thank
camera.
you.
Ready?
Okay.
Action. Now you do something and I'll follow you.
I don't know what to do. You can't do this to me.
Is it that hard?
Yes.
Just because I've been a
So
professional entertainer for 20
socially
years that I
awkward.
know
It's
exactly what to do
ridiculous.
to how to look good on camera?
Yes. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, that was awkward. And if we decide to leave this on here, I'm going to go ahead and hit that outro again, just in case people decide to keep this on their podcast.
That didn't make any sense.
It did not.
whatsoever.
But we'll talk to you next
We're
time.
out of practice if
Yep.
you can't tell.
Bye, guys.
Bye.